Hello again, this is Paul Mackey, continuing on at close to my intended 2-week pace. Fox was in the Bahamas this week with his high school choir, and I retrieved him at 2:30 a.m. as the bus from MSP dropped them off at the school. I'm recording now, but may require a bit more sleep at some point afterwards. So let's dispense with any more small talk and look into that small town in the Pacific Northwest, Gravity Falls. This is Season 1, Episode 12, Summerween, originally aired October 5th of 2012. A brief summary. On the Gravity Falls holiday Summerween, the melon o-lanterns are lit, and Stan has bought the worst off-brand candy imaginable. When Dipper throws the so-called loser candy out, Suze warns that tonight the Summerween trickster is afoot. It's kind of a great pumpkin in reverse. Instead of rewarding the most sincere pumpkin patch, the trickster seeks out children who aren't in the spirit and eats them. Dipper is into the spirit of trick-or-treating until Wendy and Robbie drop by, and Wendy invites Dipper to a Summerween party. Dipper tries to feign sickness to get out of trick-or-treating, but the trickster arrives, demanding 500 pieces of candy and eating poor Gorney to prove he is serious. Results are slow until Dipper gets his costume on. They almost have enough candy, but just as they go to get the last piece, Dipper sees Wendy and Robbie, so he thinks he's hiding the candy, but accidentally drops it in the river. They wind up battling the trickster, who turns out is the personification of all the discarded loser candy, and is actually made of loser candy. Suze eats the creature from within, and the trickster is defeated when Suze says he likes it. All right, well, with all of that, how could we possibly find a very cartoonish? Well, I tried anyway. The trickster is at its most cartoonish when it's crying candy corn tears. My favorite line, actually I've got two, and they're kind of back-to-back, so I'm just going to do it all in one clip.
The crying makes it a little weird, but I guess I'm still eating. Oh. What's up, Gorney?
I've been traumatized.
All right, the Who Is segment. Jeff Bennett played the Summerween trickster in this episode. Jeff Bennett was born in Houston, Texas in 1962 and worked on stage at Houston's Alley Theater prior to his film and television career. Jeff seems to have worked almost exclusively in voice roles, aside from a small on-screen role in Friday the 13th Part 7 in 1988. At least, I didn't find any in my skimming of over 600 IMDb credits to his name. But it's clear that if you're an animation fan or kid from the 80s through today, you've probably heard him perform. Some of his early work included dubs for several films from Studio Ghibli, including the role of Kiki's father in Kiki's Delivery Service. Through the early 90s, he worked steadily in small roles on television and direct-to-video for Disney, Nickelodeon, or pretty much anybody making animation. In 1995, he originated the role of Johnny Bravo. He's worked in small roles for both Tiny Toon Adventures and Animaniacs. One of his most viewed roles was from 2006 until 2022 as the man in the yellow hat in the Curious George television series. So what worked in this? It was whimsical, I suppose. Of course, it continues Dipper's existence at the point where childhood things coexist and sometimes interfere with interests on the teenage side of things. This is a valid, very real period in life to depict. What didn't work? Well, you heard me predict the exact premise last episode, and being correct wasn't a plus. I had a hard time engaging with this episode. So things to ponder. I know this show has a fan base, and there's a more overarching plot to be had, but at this point, I don't feel like I've gotten much of that yet. I know I'm probably building in adult expectations, along with comparing it unfairly to The Owl House. I'd like to see more hints of it going somewhere bigger. So next time is Season 1, Episode 13, Boss Mabel, which sounds like a takeoff on the movie Boss Baby, except that it aired 5 years prior to the release date of that movie. Happy hunting! You've been listening to the One Idjit's Thoughts On podcast, produced by Paul Mackey in association with Nimlas Studios. Any short clips of audio from shows is included under fair use for commentary purposes, and copyright for that content remains with its original copyright holders. The theme song is Too Good by Jack Mangan and is used by his generous permission. One Idjit's Thoughts is produced under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License. You can find more episodes of this podcast and many other fine podcasts at nimlas.org. You can contact me by emailing idjitcastpodcast@gmail.com or commenting on episodes at nimlas.org.
Let's make our own memories.
Hey Wendy, watch me eat a lollipop stick first.